Now we have to see what happened there and what is the issues there. That all we will be seeing. And if you want, I can give you a revision also of this chapter. So first of all, we spoke about third chapter. I am repeating, and with that repetition, we will come to the end of this particular part. So the company became the Diwan. Page number, what is that? 26th page that you can see. That we will see the Mughal emperor gave permission to Robert Clive
Good,
to be the Diwan
good
on
afternoon, sir.
12th, good afternoon, 12th August 1765. Then, because of the grant of Diwani, the British East India Company became the Diwan of Bengal. Then, what is the meaning of that? The chief, the company became the chief financial administrator of the territory, Bengal territory. And what was happened? Only a few people attended the meeting, but uh, Robert Clive has made it as a very big achievement for the East India Company. Now, what he wanted, being an alien power, it wanted to pacify the people of that particular countryside, and they were having some authority, they were having a prestige, and all those local power had to be controlled and they could not be entirely eliminated. That was a situation. The British East India Company, yes, I'll come to the end part. Now this is being recorded, so please listen. I'll give you last 5 minutes for all kind of doubts to be cleared. Now, East India Company is the Diwan, and they have the power of a chief financial administrator. These two things you remember. Date also you remember, August 12th, 1765. Alam Khan has given this permission. Now, what is the situation that they wanted? They wanted to have the countryside to be colonized. Why? In order to organize the revenue resources. The revenue resources should be organized for the company, and they wanted to redefine the rights of the people. And what they wanted whatever crops they wanted to be produced. We are coming to that part again. Now, what is the position of the company? Primarily, it is a trader, not an administrator. They wanted to purchase goods from India and to export to England. And what they were importing from England? They were importing gold and silver from Britain. Is it clear? So they were financing from England, from Britain. Now, when they got the power to be the Diwan of Bengal, what they had, they could collect the revenue from here, from India. And who were in deep crisis here in India? The Bengal economy became very poor. The artisans, that means those who were doing all kinds of artwork, weavers, basket makers, and such kind of handicrafts work, those who were doing, they were suffering like anything. Then other group of people who were suffering is peasants. Peasants means farmers. So the farmers were unable to pay their dues to the administration. They have to pay taxes. That was not possible for them because the income that they were getting is very less. That was the situation. And in 1770, a terrible famine happened in Bengal, and 1/3 of the population was wiped out. That was the situation when administration went into the hands of the East India Company, and they started producing commercial crops instead of food crops, and people were suffering like anything. Famine means, what is the meaning of the word famine? Food is not available. Food is not available. That is the situation that they were facing. Understood? So why it happened? Because the farming has been changed to commercial crops. We'll come to that. Especially they started producing jute, they started producing cotton, and they stopped producing food crops. But in order to save their name in the country, what they wanted, they need to improve the agriculture. We have come to the 28th page. So what? In 1793, they have come up with a new idea, that is permanent settlement. So what is the meaning of that? The Jamindars will be given an area of land, a particular area of land. They will collect the taxes from the farmers, and that will be given to the company. So company will be getting a particular amount from each Jamindar. So what happened? The company's coffers become very rich. Coffers means the money that was coming to the company was high enough. But this revenue demanded from the people made the poor people very poor. So that is the reason why the famine has affected the people. And Jamandar also was benefited, because if the production is increased, naturally income will be more. So what they wanted, if more income should come, more production should be done, more crops should be created, and thus they thought that it will be beneficial to the company. Then in the permanent settlement, there was a lot of problem. What was that? The Jamindars, though they are getting enough money, they were not investing for the improvement of the land. Jamindars were getting enough money, and they were able to pay the revenue to the government, means East India Company also. But unfortunately, what they did, they collected the money and they don't want to spend it on improving the land. So the first decade of the 19th century, there was a change in the situation. What was that? The prices in the market rose and cultivation slowly expanded. So income increased for the Jamindars, but the company was not getting enough revenue. Even though the agriculture improved, the farming improved, and good revenue was there for the Jamindars, that much was not given to the company, because they have fixed the taxes which should be paid to the company. Are you following? Now they have Jamindars were not having any interest in improving the land. So some of the land was taken back by the company itself. So a new system was arranged. What was the new system? The revenue system had to be changed. For that, the company, because the company needed more money. So what happened? A person called Hart Mackenzie devised the new system, and that came into effect in 1822, especially in the area under Uttar Pradesh, present Uttar Pradesh. That was the province of Bengal, Bengal Presidency. Now, what is the institution? the village was to be improved. And for that, the collectors went from village to village, and they estimated the land, measuring the field, and also recording the customs and rights of the different groups. This estimation happened in 1822. At present also, the land is surveyed, and if you are you listening? If you are if you find out when you are checking your land documents, the survey that happened in 1822 is considered as the basic survey for the land. At that time, each and every village was surveyed by the British company. And after that, even though 70 above years of independence has happened also, there is no proper surveying happened. Every 10 years they are going for census, but the land survey is not properly done. So even now, 1822 survey that happened all over India is considered as the basic survey. So that was under the Jamindars. And these Jamindars sold out this land to different people. Anyway, that system is known as Mahalwari system. Village sarpanch, village head was given the power to collect the tax, and that they will be giving to the company, East India Company. So this system of settlement is known as Mahalwari system or settlement. So first one was permanent settlement. Then it is known as Jamindari system. And afterwards, when it is done by the villagers, it's known as Mahalwari system. Is it clear to all of you? Yes. Now, the third system that has come into force is one Captain Alexander Reed has proposed a new system. It is known as Raituvari system. Those who are farming in the villages, that land was given to them. And this idea was developed by Thomas Munro. So this system is also known as the Munro system. The Munro system and also Raitwari system is same. That's what we have seen in the last class. Now, what was the problem? Everything was not in a proper manner, because in every system, the revenue that was demanded from the peasants were so high. So the income for the peasants, income for the farmers were very less, and the company wanted more revenue, and they promised that they will improve the land area. And one more thing happened. What was that? They were making the people to farm or do the farming for crops that are important for Europe. And what are the important crops for the Europe? That was jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in the United Province, now it is Uttar Pradesh, wheat in Punjab, cotton in Maharashtra and Punjab, rice in Madras. This is what the British wanted the Indian farmers to plant. Then another thing that happened is the color history. What is that color history? There is a plant called indigo in India, and that indigo is very rich blue color, and that is used for coloring the cloth. For that, this is very dark color, and every cloth makers there in Europe wanted this color. And another color that was used in Europe was woad, and that color was violet, but that was bit pale in color. And this is grown in northern Italy, southern France, and parts of Germany and Britain. But they did not want that competition from indigo, which is very dark in color. So they, even though wood and indigo was fighting each other in such a way, competing each other, we have to say, cloth dyers wanted rich blue color of indigo. So they were persuaded to get this particular indigo from India. So what they did, they banned the import of indigo from India. So naturally, the rate of indigo has gone up. And what they did, they have started planting it in West Indies and America. They were planting it. But unfortunately, what happened, this in West Indies indigo cultivation and American cultivation has stopped. Now they should get all the indigo from India. So Britain turns to India to get indigo. Then what happened? Many people from Britain came here and proposed cultivation of indigo, and this indigo cultivation in Bengal increased, expanded. So by 1788, in the market, 30% of the indigo imported to Britain was from India only. That was the situation in 1788. But in 1810, what happened? 95% of the indigo that was imported to England came from India alone. So the business people in England, they found that it's a very big business. So they came over here. They have taken big areas and they started cultivating this land with the indigo. So what happened? Then they become planters. So they needed a lot of workers. For that, they have collected slaves from different areas, bonded slaves. So that system continued till recently in a way. So on first different festivals, the landowners will give a particular amount to the workers, and for that year, this worker will be working under that particular planter or farmer. That was the situation. Now you have to see how was the indigo cultivated. Page number 32. Here you can see two kinds of indigo cultivation is there. One is known as niche and the other one is rayati. And what is this niche cultivation? The area of cultivation cannot be increased. So one more thing is that indigo can be cultivated only in very fertile land. So small plots scattered all over the landscape could be acquired. So the planters needed large areas in compact blocks to cultivate indigo in plantations. So how can they get it? They attempted lease in the land around indigo factory. So wherever there is an indigo factory, wherever there is a land around it, they wanted to collect that land by evicting, sending away the peasants near the factory area. So this created a lot of conflicts and tension between the peasants, farmers and planters. And one more thing is that they needed labor. Large plantation required vast number of hands to operate, and labor needed precisely at a time when peasants were usually busy with their rice cultivation. So peasants were cultivating rice. At that time, they wanted a lot of people to work. So what they did, niche cultivation is a large scale and also required many plows and bullocks also. So one biga of indica cultivation required 2 ploughs. This meant that the planter with 1,000 bigas would need 2,000 ploughs. Investing on the purchase and maintenance of ploughs were big problem for them. Now what happened? These supplies were not available because of the absence of the peasants. So what they did, they wanted to expand the area, but it was not possible. So less than 25% of the land producing indigo was under this system only. So another system that was promoted is the royalty system. And in this system, the planters force the riots to sign a contract or an agreement, or it is known as satta. What is that? They pressurize the village headman to sign a contract on behalf of the right, and they will be getting cash advances from the planters, and they have very low interest for the money. But what they have to do, they have to produce only indigo. They cannot plant any other things like rice or vegetables or whatever it is. And more than that, 25% of the area should be under indigo cultivation. And what will be done? Yes, any problem? Yes. What will be done? The planter will give some money, seeds will be provided, and the cultivators or the farmers should prepare the land, and they have to sow the seed and look after the crops. And from there, the next page, 34th page, how it is prepared is given in picture. How indigo was produced. So it is used by different vats. And first one is known as fermenting or steeper vat. That's a big cauldron we can call a vat. Then what is the situation there? The indigo villagers were usually around indigo factories owned by the planters. So the indigo plant was taken to the vats in the indigo factory. So 3 or 4 watts will be needed for the manufacture of dye. One. What is the problem? Am I going faster?
No, sir.
You come to page number 34. What is a big cauldron? A big plant. You can see the picture there. Beater plant is what is given. First one is known as steeper vat. There, this plant will be kept, and after that, when it is fermented, then it is boiled, and when bubble is there, the rotten leaves were taken out, and the liquid drained into another vat that was placed just below the first vat. That's the situation. And the second vat, and this is known as beater vat. First one is steeper vat, and the second one is beater vat. Now it should be continuously stirred as we prepare particular kinds of cooking at home. Same way, they have to stir it with the paddles. So then lime water will be added to this particular vat. And the third one is settling vat. When lime water is added, then it will be pressed and dried, and it will be ready for sale. This is the 3 stages. First one is steeper vat. Second one is what is that? Beater vat. And the third one is settling vat. So this is the preparation of indigo. First one is plants will be taken and kept in a vat. When it is boiled, when bubbles are there, the rotten ones will be removed, and afterwards it will be taken to the second vat and there lime water will be added. And in the third one, it will be allowed to settle down and then it will be pressed and dried out for sale. So this English is okay for you? Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Sir.
Those who did not understand,
Yes, sir.
please listen and look into the book also. Then only you will be able to. I told you to read and come, no? So how it is producing? Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now what happened is page number 35. When the crop was delivered to the planter after the harvest, a new loan will be given to the riot. And they are tempted by the loan, they will collect it. Then naturally, they have to plant only indigo. But the peasants prefer to cultivate rice only because we cannot eat indigo at any cost. If you have to eat, your family should eat means compulsorily it should be rice. Rice should be produced. But as they have taken money from the planters, as they have been given loan from the by the planters, compulsorily they have to plant indigo. So what they wanted after the indigo, at least they wanted to sow the rice, but it was also not possible. Then what happened? This is known as Blue Rebellion. That happened in 1859. So what they did, the riots, the farmers from Bengal did not want to grow indigo. They refused to pay rents to the planters because already it was there in the hands of the planters only. So they were not ready to pay rent. Then they attacked the factories with the arms, swords and spears, bows and arrows, and even women started fighting with pots, pans, kitchen implements, and they socially boycotted the planters. So a lot of problems were created. Why? They wanted to plant rice, but the planters wanted them to plant only indigo, which they were not ready. So there started a fighting between the planters and the farmers. Then they don't want to be silent. They found that it's an oppressive system. So this year you will get 1,000 rupees. Next year, by the end of when the harvesting done, you have to pay 1,000 rupees and your money is over. Next, if you want to live for another year, you have to get another 1,000 rupees. Just supposing that you need only 1,000 rupees to live on for 1 year. So this was the situation. Today you get it, you spend it. Tomorrow you have to sell the thing to him and you will spoil that. And after that, again you have to get, you cannot plant rice and there is nothing for them to eat. Whatever they are getting is not enough for them to live. Have you understood the situation? So the Jamindars, local headman in the Jamindari system, the Mahalwari system, and in Raituvari system, the people, the peasants were suffering. So they wanted the British government, they thought that the British government would support them. But unfortunately, they found that they did not support them. So they started a fighting between the planters, and in their side, the government was there. Then the lieutenant government, governor toured the region in 1859, and he had a sympathy for the riots. Then the magistrate Ashley Eden issued a notice stating that riots should not compel to accept indigo contract. So the court interfered and they said it should not be compelled. If they want, they can plant indigo. Otherwise, they need not plant. Then Queen Victoria declared that indigo need not be sown. That was a big success for the indigo farmers. So intellectual from Calcutta rushed to indigo districts. They wrote to the riots, and a lot of people supported the rebellion, and an indigo commission was established, and they found that the planters guilty, and they were criticized, and indigo production, which was profitable for the rights, the commission asked to fulfill their existing contract, but told them that they could refuse to produce indigo in future. So that struggle has become in favor of the farmers. So the government, under the leadership of Queen Victoria, Ashley Eden, all these people together, after the fighting, they decided, if you want, you can produce indigo. Otherwise, no need. So they can produce rice. So it has become a successful mission. And many people, leaders from, intellectuals from Calcutta also rushed to these areas, and they also helped. And Mahatma Gandhi, when he returned from South Africa in 1917, he visited this Champaran village, and it's known as Champaran movement. And that was the first entry of Mahatma Gandhi into freedom struggle. We consider 1919 to 1948 as the Gandhian era in Indian history. But in 1917, when this indigo rebellion happened, or blue revolution happened, the people, the leaders from different parts of India, especially that from what you call the regions, helped them. And naturally, the peasants of Bihar were persuaded Mahatma Gandhi to visit the Bihar district, and naturally it was a big success. And that was against the planters, and it was a big success for the farmers. Now they could make what they wanted. Either they can plant rice, or that they wanted indigo also. So that permission is given to the people, farmers at that time. Hope that everybody understood the movement, how it is explained in your textbook. Any doubts? If you are having any doubts, if it is not clear, tell me. I have given in an order what all things happened. I think it's clear enough. Someone is facing problem to understand my way of talking. Anyway, these many days are over. I thought that it will be easy for you. Okay. If you are having any doubts, please ask. We have enough time now. Don't worry. We can just repeat the things, see if it is not clear. Okay. First of all, remember Jamindari system, then Mahalwari system, then Raitwari system. Then why the company wanted indigo, how the indigo farmers reacted, and they had a rebellion. Then how the British government helped them. First, British government supported the planters, but they changed it, and Queen Victoria told that if you want, you can produce indigo, otherwise you can go for rice. That is in nutshell what happened. Okay, is it clear? No answers, why? Shiva Prasad. Everyone is sleeping or what? So who is having this problem of that name I could not get? Aditya, huh? Atif is having the problem, I think. Anyone else is having the problem of understanding English? Atif, are you attending the class every day?